This is Pat Mesiti, and today I'm going to show you a rather disturbing video. It's disturbing for many, many fronts. You know, ever since the murder of George Floyd, and it was a murder of George Floyd, it seems like Black Lives Matter has gone absolutely crazy. Them alongside with Antifa are almost causing a nation to be on the brink of complete chaos. Matter of fact, it seems like the Biden movement, or the Democrats, and Antifa are joining hands. When you look at www.antifa.com, it directly goes to Joe's Biden website. It makes you wonder. This morning I received a video, and there's a compilation of statements by people of the left and what they think about Donald Trump and what they think about you. And sadly, I believe politics is no longer about left and right, between, you know, Republican, Democrat, between Liberal and Labor. It's becoming more and more about good versus evil. Now, I want to emphatically state, I am anti-racism, always have been. Having been the recipient of racism, I know what it's like to be judged by the color of your skin, the color of your clothes, how you smell, what you eat, where you live. It's awful. The statement Black Lives Matter, I have no problem with. Of course, Black Lives Matter. And I know some of you are going to say, well, all lives matter. Yes, but we are talking about right now Black lives. However, the movement, I believe, is absolutely demonic and evil. You know, when you consider it's been going 7 years since BLM was formed, they've raised over $1 billion and yet haven't had one neighborhood cleanup, sent one poor kid to college, bought school supplies, fed the hungry, donated to a food bank, or provided housing to one poor African-American family. That's disgusting. And when you got the likes of Al Sharpton, who's basically a publicity ambulance chaser, you know, getting out there and, you know, making statements. When you look at the fact that in the last 91 days since George Floyd's death and Jacob Blake's shooting, who, by the way, Jacob Blake was, again, wanted for sexual assault, not justifying what happened, but you're resisting arrest continuously. And when you're going to get a weapon, you see the Antifa mob, 91 days between George Floyd's death, Jacob Blake's shooting, there's been 1,629 black people killed by other black people in the United States of America. 1,629, and many of them children, and not a word. Not a word from the lefty media, not a word from anyone. Not a word from Black Lives Matter. Recently, I saw a preacher friend of mine put up a post about the young man who 65 years ago was slaughtered by two white men because he supposedly whistled at a woman. And these men were acquitted. Well, those men should have been thrown in jail. But whilst we are bringing up the ghosts of the past, we're not holding people accountable for their actions in the present. It seems to me quite absurd, evil, and crazy that we are now going on about the sins of the past while turning a blind eye to the sins of the present. When I look at our own country now, this morning we read that museum bows to BLM pressure and rewrites Captain Cook's history. Are you serious? At what point do you realize the moment you give in to terrorism once, you give into it for the long haul? I want you to have a look at this video that was sent to me this morning and have a look at what some of the Democrats or the leftist movement are saying. Let's run the video, Jonathan.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Now, there's a side of me that's glad that I don't live in America, and there's a side of me that's concerned because I've got family and grandkids and daughter and son-in-law in America. But did you hear the rhetoric? I want to punch him in the face. I'm going to take him out. Encouraging people to take to the street and commit civil unrest. This is Antifa. This is not about George Floyd. This is not about someone's life. Now, even our politicians are between Albanese and Scott Morrison. At least they've got some element of dignity, both of them. Well, actually, they both do. Well, let's leave that one alone. I'll leave that one alone. But the vitriol that comes out of these people is pure evil. It's pure evil. Today, I heard a statement about someone complaining that at a President Trump thing, someone fired a paintball at someone. Well, it's a lot different to firing a bullet and killing a Trump supporter in Portland, and then you cheering, and then the mob, the crowd says, we can look after our own cities. Really? Really? See, this is the part where anarchy and lawlessness takes over and common sense goes out the window. You see, the anarchists and Antifa want to control and rule, and if they think they're going to stop it at just white people, you're kidding yourself. It's a spirit of how they do lives. When I see the vitriol that's spewed out of people's mouths, it concerns me. This is now not becoming about Democrat and Republican. It's about good versus evil. When the killing of children is not challenged, we're okay to challenge it in the past, but we're living right now in 2020. With Black Lives Matter, and if the Black Lives Matter movement really meant what they said, why are they not sticking up for the children and the people that are killed by their own people of their own color? And I don't even like using that word color. I find it difficult. I actually find it even offensive to use the word. Because as I've always said, there's only one color, and it's called red. If we think this doesn't affect Australia, we're also kidding ourselves. If America sneezes, we all get a cold. We saw what happened over there with the Black Lives Matter movement, the marches, and seen the craziness that's happened here, and Dictator Dan allowing them to march in Melbourne, and now the mess we've got. Australians need to take a position on this. And I'm not telling you what position to take. But Kamala Harris there is saying, you think this is going to stop after the election? No, it's not. That is a veiled threat. Actually, it is a threat. When you're saying I'm taking them out, and then someone's charged with saying that President Trump should be assassinated. Can you imagine if one of our senators in this country or members of parliament said that? There'd be an outrage. Well, kind of, maybe an outrage. I mean, we've got Palaszczuk saying that Queensland hospitals are for Queenslanders and they're not for New South Wales people, and children die because of her arrogance and inability to have compassion and understanding. But we'll leave that one alone for now. Let's stick to this commentary. I believe every lives matter, and I do believe Black lives matter. I believe olive skin lives matter. I believe yellow skin lives matter. I believe all lives matter. But we need to understand the spirit that is anti-racism and for people and then a political movement that is nothing but evil, riddled with agendas. When you say you care about the people of color, when we've got Oprah Winfrey up there speaking about white privilege, hey Oprah, I got a deal for you. How about you give up your billions that you've got and put them in the black communities? Stop giving away cars, which are sponsored anyway, Oprah. You didn't give away the cars. Companies gave away cars. Yeah, I said it. Maybe you ought to listen to guys like Morgan Freeman. Maybe you ought to listen to people like Denzel Washington that care for humanity as a whole. When you've got massive, wonderful buses, by the way, this bus in this photo that I've got wasn't a Black Lives Matter bus, it's from a Canadian team. But when you've got this splattered everywhere, people confuse the spirit of protecting people of color with the Antifa spirit. And when preachers, and I know I've already made some enemies out of this one, when preachers encourages anarchism in the street, God help you guys. God help you. Because that which you sow, you will also reap. And make my words, anarchy and lawlessness is anarchy and lawlessness. Hey guys, this is Pat Mesiti. I trust that this opens your eyes to some stuff. That video moved me today. I trust it horrifies you. Please press like, subscribe, and share. And by the way, tomorrow I'm going to be conducting some interviews with one of the most insightful minds on the planet, and we're going to be bringing it to you live at 5 over the next few days. You have a prosperous day.